Good morning, everyone. In today's video session, I am going to tell you about the lost spring. In the last video, we have completed first part of this chapter, and this is the second part. And the name of the story is I Want to Drive a Car. This is a story of a boy whose name is Mukesh. In the last chapter, we have read the story of Sahib, and this is the story of Mukesh. He wanted to become a motor mechanic. All his family member, even the members of his society, are bangle makers, and he wanted to do something different from them and wanted to be a motor mechanic. And the writer was happy to hear that. Here the writer was saying that he met with a boy whose name is Mukesh and wanted to become a motor mechanic, and that's why she is asking from him, do you know anything about the cars? And he said he will learn to drive a car. He answered. He was looking straight into the eyes of the writer, and his dreams were looming like a mirage amidst the dust of the street that filled his town Firozabad. Firozabad is famous for bangles. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in this business. It is the center of India's glass-blowing industry, where families have spent generations working around furnaces, welding glasses, and making bangles. For all the women in the land, it means that all the women who are living in India, they make glasses, they make bangles for them. And Mukesh's family is one of them. None of them know that it is illegal for the children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperature and in dark cells, without air, without light, and that the law, if enforced, could get him and all those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces where they slog their daylight hours and often losing their brightness of their eyes. Mukesh I beam as a volunteer to take the author, which he proudly says is being rebuilt. They walked down in these small streets, small lanes that was choked with garbage. Past homes remain a slum and old crumbling walls and wobbly doors. There was no window, and families of human and animals were coexisting in the same house. And in one part of it there was a thatched dead grass, and there is a firewood stove over which sits a large vessel of sizzling spinach leaf. On the ground in the large aluminium platters are more chopped vegetables. Means the house was preparing for the lunch or dinner. There was a thin young woman who was cooking the evening meal for the family. Through her eyes filled with smoke, after that she was smiling. She was the wife of Mukesh's elder brother, not much older in the years, but she has begun to command respect as Bahu, means daughter-in-law of the house. And she was in charge of 3 men, her husband, Mukesh, and their father. When the older man enters, she gently withdraws behind the broken wall and brings her veil closer to her face, as custom demands. And in this case, the elder is impoverished bangle maker, and despite long years of hard labor, first he worked as a tailor, then bangle maker, and he has failed to renovate a house, and he was failed to send 2 sons to the school. All he has managed to do is teach them what he knows, that was the art of bangle making. Next, the author is describing the condition of the house, that there was spirals of bangles of sunny gold, paddy green, royal blue, pink, purple. Every color born out of the 7 colors of the rainbow lie in the mounds of uncapped yards are piled on 4-wheeled handcrafts, pushed by a young man along the narrow lanes of the hut town. And in the dark hutments next to the lines of frames of flickering oil lamps, there was boys and girls sitting with their fathers and mother, and they all were welding pieces of colored glasses into the circles of bangles. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than the light outside. And that's why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. There was a little girl, Savita, who was in a drab pink dress. She was sitting alongside an elderly woman, soldering a piece of glass as her hands moved mechanically like the tongues of a machine. I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. It symbolizes Indian women's suhag, and it is a very important part of marriages too. She'll dawn the suddenly one day, and when her head draped with red veil, her hands dyed red henna mehendi, and she'll become bright like the old women beside her who became many years ago. She still has a bangles on her wrist, but there was no light in her eyes. And she was saying that एक वक्त सिर भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. She was saying in rain of joy, means after that long hard work, they were not able to eat even the perfect meal. Hearing him, one wonders if he achieved what many have failed in the lifetime. He had a roof over his head. The cry of the not having money to anything except carry on the business of making bangles. And that's why here the writer was suggesting them that they should organize into a cooperative. She was asking from young men, and they were replying, even if we get organized, we are the ones who will be hauled up by the police, beaten and dragged to the jail for doing something illegal. There is no leader among them, no one who could help them see things differently. Their fathers are as tired they are, and they talk endlessly in the spiral that moves from poverty to apathy to greed, and to do anything else would mean to dare, and daring is not a part of their growing up. When I sense a flash of it in the Mukesh, I am cheered that he wanted to become a motor mechanic. He is content to dream of cars that he sees hurtling down the street of his town. Few aeroplanes fly over Firozabad, and he was not willing to dream of flying a plane. So I was happy that he was thinking something different from his lineage of bangle making, and there was a light in his eyes when he was saying that he wanted to motor mechanic. Although it was very far away, but he decided that he will go there and he will definitely learn how to repair a car. This is all about second part of the story. Thank you. Have a nice day.